What's up, YouTube? Sergio Becerra II here again, and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing another book review, and it's another history book, and it's on a familiar historical figure that I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with, because his name later becomes the title for a well-known vampire. So here it is: Dracula, Prince of Many Faces, Vlad the Impaler. Prince Vlad Dracula Tepes III, Prince of Wallachia. Vlad Dracula Tepes III, born in 1431 in the Principality of Wallachia, now known as Romania, son of Vlad II, aka Vlad Dracul. Dracul, Romanian for the Dragon, because Vlad II was a member of a well-known Catholic military order known as the Order of the Dragon. Basically, the Order of the Dragon was mostly made up of many monarchies and other princes. And Vlad II became one of its members. Well, here's the thing: the the Wallachian Principality was originally Eastern Orthodox, but Vlad III, he becomes a Catholic like towards the end of his life. Even though this military order was, of course, a Catholic order, but Vlad II, well known for his involvement against for his military involvement with the Turks, that's what got him made a member. So Vlad was born in 1431, son of Vlad II. So when Vlad III and his brother Radu were boys, Vlad II handed them over to the Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II. I guess you can say as an insurance policy. So if anything were to happen to Vlad II, Vlad III would be the immediate successor. So Vlad and Radu were actually prisoners to the Sultan for many years. They were trained in their military, understood their tactics. What fascinated Vlad III was one of the many execution styles that Vlad later used, which would be impalement. So when Vlad's father was assassinated by rivals within his principality, Vlad returned home. The Turks thought having Vlad on the Wallachian throne would secure them taking over of the Wallachian throne, and of course all of Wallachia, just for the Turks alone. No, Vlad took the throne for himself, never handed it over to the Turks. So now Vlad is on a mission to go after those that are responsible for his father. He gone after other noble people that had claims to the throne, known as the Boyar, made up of other clans, as I said, that had claim to the throne. So what does Vlad do exactly? He invites them over to his banquet hall on an Easter Sunday and has his men impale 500 boyars on wooden stakes. But it wasn't just the nobles, the boyar that were trying to claim the throne. He even killed his members of even not members. I mean, killed his own people, had them impaled, whether they were old, useless, whatever. He had them impaled on stakes, which would later give him the nickname the Impaler. In fact, Vlad has been back and forth losing his crown and throne like 3 different times. So at one time, Vlad took sanctuary at a familiar castle, which some believe to be the real castle Dracula, known as Bran Castle. I think which was a castle designed by his grandfather, who was the prince before him, which he stayed there, which was actually in Transylvania, to be exact. I think Vlad had control of Transylvania. I gotta look back at it just to be sure. I gotta look up the history, even though I've read this already. So Vlad starts like different other projects like fortresses within his capital, Targovishta, and then later on during his reign, that's when he later built his like most prized fortress, Castle Panari, which is actually the real Castle Dracula. It's actually on a hilltop, which is actually an earthquake zone, and he had all the material to build Castle Panari, but instead of using like um, homemade cement mix with some of the materials up by the river, he used a lime mortar, which is not really much of a like a cement because it's like a putty form. And since the castle was built in an earthquake zone, so if any earthquake were to break down any of the structure of the castle, and he's being invaded, a lot of brick and stone would just fall right on the enemy from downhill. In fact, he he picked the right spot to build this castle, so that way he can look directly at Torkovish Torkovishta at one end, which is his entire Wallachia, and then to the other side of him, which would be Transylvania. So there was even one point during his reign he had a Polish ambassador to his court, and what really disgusted him was that Vlad would be eating like pieces of bread and dunking it in human blood and eating it, and that's when the ambassador is like, "Why are you eating that? Can you please stop it? That's like really disturbing." So what does Vlad do? Has him killed, has him impaled, and then at one point, he had an Ottoman envoy meet with him, but the envoy was demanding that Vlad would meet with the Sultan and asked to bow down to him. Instead, Vlad declines, and while in Vlad's court, Vlad demanded that the envoy remove his turban, his headdressing, while meeting with him. But the envoy was like, "No, it's part of our custom. We don't take our turbans off." So what does Vlad do? He permanently has that turban attached to the envoy's head by having one of his men hammer a nail right into his skull. That way it would never come off. And of course has him killed too. And when he and then at another point in life, Vlad, since he was about to engage the forces of the Ottoman Empire right at the border of his country, and then of course I think Bulgaria, which where the Turks were at, I think they had control of Bulgaria or anywhere close to where the Turkish Ottoman border was. So he and his forces engage with the enemy, and at one point, Vlad impales 20,000 Ottoman Turks on spears, which frightens the ultimate Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II. So here's the thing about impalement: what Vlad did. He would impale him in two different ways. At one end, it would be like a pointy part, and then he would like get them right here in the abdomen, like right here in the stomach, and then hoist them up. But if he really wanted to make a real example out of someone, he would turn the spear around on its round end, grease it, and then have that wooden spear up inside the rectum of his victims. He would have some of his men. He would have some of his men hold the victim while Vlad inserted that spear up the rectum, which would like slowly go through the back once they were hoisted up in the air and then placed in the ground, like slowly dying, and that other end of the spear would come like right off in the back, and they would slowly die. Yeah, so he would grease that round end part, whatever, like pig fat or grease, then inserts it in the rectum, pushes them up, and then it like slowly comes down, slowly die, which they can like hang there for like 2 or 3 days, which is like a lot more gruesome, a lot more different than crucifixion. Then when Vlad loses his crown like a second time, he ends up leaving Wallachia. He ends up in the hands of the Hungarian king. He's taken prisoner. So the deal was, if Vlad wanted to get out, the king told him, "If you want to get out of here and return back home to Wallachia, you need to convert to Catholicism," which Vlad did. So he becomes a Catholic and returns back to Wallachia. His brother Radu, who had been held captive by the Ottoman Empire for like many years, he's put on the throne by the Turks. What does Vlad do? Has his brother killed, gets his throne again, and before he can even start any new projects, Vlad the Impaler dies. So there's two ways how he could have died. One rumor was either he died in combat or assassinated. But a lot of people are saying it could most likely could have been assassination. So once Vlad died, while his body was lying in state, you had a Turkish scout go up to his body, amputated his head, covered it, and preserved it in honey, and returned it back to the Sultan, proving that he was dead, and even had his head put on a spear, saying, the Impaler is now impaled." And since Vlad's nickname was the Impaler, his Turkish, or should I say Arabic nickname, was known as Kazikli Bay, the Impaler Lord. That's what Vlad was known for. And of course, many years later, the British author Bram Stoker would travel to Romania and then learn the story of Vlad the Impaler, in which he uses his name, Dracula. Dracula meaning son of the dragon, even though some say son of the devil because the dragon is somewhat associated with the devil. But a lot of people said son of the dragon. That's what it means because his father was known as Vlad Dracul, Dracul meaning dragon. So using Vlad's middle name, Dracula, would be the inspiration for the 19th century vampire book Dracula, in which many decades later, when a lot of people would catch on that Bram Stoker used the name of the 15th century Romanian warlord. Now, in reality, Vlad the Impaler was not a real vampire, even though his middle name was Dracula. But Dracula would be used as the name of the vampire. Now, a lot of people believe that Vlad himself was somewhat a vampire because, according to 15th century German chroniclers that propagated his life story, believed that he ate the flesh and drank the blood of his victims. Because one thing in Vlad's reign is that it was said he did like a homemade force of his own, known as the force of the impaled, whether it was his own subjects or the Turks. They said he was having a feast in front of his own victims, which is true, but never ate their flesh, never drank their blood, nothing, because that's like association with vampirism, which the Germans lied about. But here's the thing: even though Bram Stoker was fascinated by Vlad the Impaler, which would become the model of the modern day vampire, But even though he used the name Dracula as his main vampire and title, in reality, it was another vampire book written decades before Dracula. That was actually the true the true model and inspiration for Bram Stoker to write Dracula. So this covers every aspect of Dracula's life in this book right here. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell beside, and hopefully do more videos in the near future. So take care now. Bye.